everyone. Welcome to another N.E.S.T reading session. I hope you're all doing really well. As usual, we will be reading through a book, and I'll stop every few pages just to explain any difficult words that I've come across. And at the end, I'll ask you a couple of questions just so you can check your own knowledge. Today the book is called Dylan the Dragon and the Playground Ride. As usual, in the description box below, I will put a link to all of the reading resources that we have been using throughout this this N.E.S.T lockdown experience, and that will just take you to all the books that we've used since. And that means you can watch previous videos and then have access to the book that we recorded a video 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, and you can just read along with us. That's if you don't already have the PDFs of the books that we've used. So today, Dylan the Dragon and the Playground Ride is the book. This is the front cover. And so we'll just get started. So, the first page starts here. Dylan the young blue dragon lived deep in the Rockstone Mountains of Scotland. Every day the playful young dragon woke up early in the morning and flew all around the mountains and valleys looking for something to do. Next page. When he was hungry, he would go home to his cave where Mummy Dragon would have hot soup ready for his dinner. So I'll just stop there and go through any difficult words that are picked out that I thought might be a bit tricky. So, first of all, we have the word dragon. It's in the title. It's really important for this story. So, a dragon is a legendary mythical creature that it doesn't exist in the sense that stories and books like to use. So stories, films, books, TV shows like to use dragons in terms of being a large creature, scaly, almost like a massive giant lizard, but with horns, with wings, 4 legs, and can breathe fire. So that's how they are perceived in, like I said, like stories, films, TV shows, things like that. If you Google a picture of a dragon, it will almost definitely come up with something that matches the description I've just given. So like 4 legs, massive, large, scaly, horned, winged, and breathes fire. So that's what a dragon is. They don't exist in that type of sense. I mean, there's like a creature called a Komodo dragon, but it's just like a little reptile. It's not little, but it's a reptile. But it's definitely not in terms of how we see it in films and things. So that's a dragon, and I mean, on the front cover or this first page, there it is. It matches the description I gave. 4 legs, horns, wings. You can already see it breathing fire. Yeah, so that's a dragon. Then we have the word mountains. So a mountain is a mountain is like a natural elevation in the surface of the earth. So the earth kind of comes to a point like this, and that's what we call a mountain. It's like a very steep hill. So if you've ever heard of Mount Everest, that's a mountain. Like that's the highest mountain in the world. So it's like a very pointy, elevated part of the earth. So it'll be flat, 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 mountain. So that's a mountain. There isn't a particularly good picture in this book of, well, on that first page of a mountain, unfortunately, because this doesn't really showcase what I mean by a mountain, but yeah, just kind of the earth quite kind of comes to a peak like this. And then the word valleys. So a valley is a low area of land between hills or mountains. So if you have the mountain that's like this, and another mountain, the bit in between them two mountains kind of is a lot lower, and that's called a valley. Again, there isn't a perfect picture of it in the book. I wish there was, so I could explain it a bit better, but that's what it means. If you've got two mountains quite close together, that space in between the two mountains, the bit where the earth is low, is a valley. So that's the first page. Then the second page, the word cave. I think I have explained this word before in another week for another book, but I'll explain it again. So the word cave, so this again, like mountains, it's a natural occurrence. It's natural, it's not man-made, it just happens naturally. It's a natural underground chamber in a hillside or a cliff. So it's like a natural room or a natural what other word can I use? Like a natural hole in the side of a hill or the side of a mountain. They're usually a decent size. And in this case, this is where Dylan the dragon lives. This is where his home is, in this natural cutout of the side of a mountain. Now we have the word mummy. In this context, mummy is like just what Dylan the dragon is calling his mother or mum or mam or mammy. So there's lots of different words for mother, and in this case, Dylan the dragon is calling his mummy. I personally say mum, but you might say mum, mother, or the Americans say mom. So it's just what Dylan is calling his mother. Okay, then we have the word soup. So soup is like a liquid meal. You can get it in a can, or you can make it homemade if that's what you prefer. You know, you can get, if you look at Heinz tomato soup, you can get all the other flavours, other brands as well, but tomato soup, vegetable soup, chicken soup, pea and mint soup. So it's like a liquid meal. You can have it with bread, you know, dip your bread in. So that's what it means. It's like a liquid meal. And in this case, that's, well, you'll soon find out what Dylan's favourite flavour of soup is. So next page. So we're on to this one here. Oh, sorry. Oh. Wash your wings and get ready for tea. I've made your favourite today, darling, pea and toad soup, said Mummy Dragon. Dylan sighed. Thank you, Mum, he said sadly. Next page. Whatever is the matter, son? Every day you come back happily for your tea. But today you look so sad, inquired Mummy Dragon. So we'll just go back to page 3 there. She says, wash your wings and get ready for tea. So wings, I've mentioned them already, but they are used for flying. So birds have them. Apart in this scenario, Dylan and his mum have wings. So I'll just point to where the wings are in the picture. Oh, sorry. Do you see? So the things that are coming from the back of the dragons are the wings, and that's what helps them to fly. That's what allows them to fly. So that's the wings. And Toad. So Dylan's favourite soup is pea and toad soup. A toad is like a large frog. I personally wouldn't want toad soup, but Dylan is a dragon, so pea and toad soup. So it's like a large frog. That's what they've got in their soup. Then the next page, in the very last sentence, it says, in the very last line, sorry, inquired Mummy Dragon. So she's asking her son what's wrong, whatever is the matter. She's confused because usually he comes back happily for his tea and is excited for tea, but today he's not looking so happy or excited. He's actually quite sad. So she's inquiring. So this is when you ask for information from someone, you're looking further into something, you're looking for more information, more depth. And that's what Mummy Dragon here is doing. So she's inquiring to her son, Dylan. So that means she's, probing him for more information. She's asking him for more information because she wants to know more about why he's so sad. That's why she's asking him what's the matter. She wants to know more. Okay, next page is this one. I'm lonely, Mum. I can't find anyone to play with. In all the lakes, mountains and valleys in Rockstone, there isn't a single dragon for me to play with, he grumbled. Next page. Well, how about this for an idea? Why don't you fly down to the village playground and see if the children there want to play with you? Okay, right, we'll go back to this page and I'll just talk you through a couple of words that I found there. So the word lonely. Dylan is sad because he has no friends or any company really. So that's what lonely means. You don't really have anyone around you. You feel sad because you're on your own. You don't really have anyone to be with, to spend time with. So lonely, he's sad because he has no friends and no company. And then the very last word on that page there is the word grumbled. So grumbled in this context means that, excuse me, means that you complain about something. So that is what Dylan the Dragon is doing. He's complaining about being lonely. He's complaining that there's no one to play with. There's no one for him to spend time with. There's no one for him to make friends with. So that's why he's complaining. He's grumbling about that. So grumbling means he's complaining. Then we move on to the next page that I've just read, and I found the word playground. So this is also in the title. So the title of the book is Dylan the Dragon and the Playground Ride. And the word playground. Right, so this is like an outdoor area that's designed for children to play in. It has, different rides, different fun structures for children to play on. So swings. So when you sit on a little, I don't know what you'd call it, a little seat, and you swing backwards and forwards, that's a swing. A slide, so when you start at the top and you slide down, it's a slide. And then a climbing frame, usually that's like quite a tall structure, and the children can climb up it, they can climb back down it, and Yeah, obviously there's loads more stuff in a playground, but that's just 3 examples. So it's an outdoor area that's designed for children to play in. And that's just 3 examples of what you can find in the playground. So now we'll move on to the next page. So this is it here. Dylan woke up bright and early the next day. He was very excited that he would soon have friends to play with every day. Next page. He put on his baseball cap and school tie and flew past the valleys and mountains until he reached the little village of Falkirk. Okay. I didn't find any words in that first page there that might be tricky. Yeah, I think they should all be okay, really. So just move on to this one that I've just read. So he put on his baseball cap and school tie. So the baseball cap is the red cap he's wearing. So, that's the baseball cap. So it's a hat that was originally worn by baseball players. And it has the large peak at the front, usually to shield your eyes from the sun. So that's what Dylan is wearing to go to this playground. I mean, the thing that he's got around his neck is the tie. And that's just to make you look smart. It's part of a lot of uniforms. So he's just wearing that, I think, to kind of fit in to the children that he's going to try and be friends with. He's wanting to look more like he's going to school, I think. So he looks less like an outsider. I think that's what the idea is there. Okay, next page is this one. He glided down to a passerby to ask for directions to the children's playground. Next page. That way, pointed the quivering man. Oh, he must be cold, thought Dylan. After all, humans don't breathe fire like dragons, so they must find it very difficult to keep warm. Okay, so back to this page. The word glided. So this is kind of like a smooth, quiet, continuous motion. So because he has wings, he can glide. We can't really glide because we don't really fly. But Dylan the dragon here, or birds in the sky, they glide. So it's a smooth, continuous movement, and he is gliding down. So he's coming down smoothly from the air. Like I said, we don't really do much gliding because there's no movement that we do continuously and smoothly like that. Like if we run, it's not really smooth. It's kind of just like broken up back because we have to keep putting our feet on the floor. So glided, Dylan is moving with a smooth, quiet, continuous motion down from the air to nearer the floor. And so he glided down to a passerby. So a passerby is someone who just happens to be passing by something or someone. In this case, it's someone that's passing by Dylan, the dragon. So a passerby is a person who happens to be passing someone or something. That's all there is to it, I think, really. And so he glided down to the passerby to ask for directions to the children's playground. directions. Directions are how. So it's like a method of how to get somewhere, or how to arrive at a specific destination. So if somebody asked you, how do I get to the town centre from here? You would say, all right, okay, so you go up the road, you make a right, and then you make a left, you go straight ahead, and then when you see the traffic lights, you turn left or whatever. I mean, I just made that up, but they are examples of directions. So helping people giving someone a method of how they can get to a specific place. Then we move on to the next page. Quivering. So in that first sentence there, it says, that way, pointed the quivering man. So quivering means trembling or shaking, so like this. That's like quivering. And in this case, he's doing it out of fear because he's scared of Dylan the dragon. But quivering doesn't necessarily have to be out of fear or, fright. It's just that you are shaking or trembling. But in this case, this man is quivering because he is so scared. And if you are scared of something, you do tend to shake or quiver. Okay, now we move on to the next page. This has quite a lot of text. Not long after, Dylan the dragon came in for a swift landing in the centre of the playground. The playground was filled with smart young children in bright red and grey uniforms with their school ties. Dylan tugged at his tie and cleared his throat. He felt very well dressed for the occasion. He was about to open his mouth to introduce himself when he suddenly heard... Next page. Ah! Run! It's a dragon! He's going to burn us alive! Yelled one of the young boys. All the children ran frantically towards the exit and disappeared in no time. Okay, back to this page here. We have the word swift. So this is an easy one, really, just means quick. So Dylan the dragon came in for a swift landing in the centre of the playground. Also can be read as Dylan the dragon came in for a quick landing at the centre of the playground. So if you do something swiftly, you do something quickly. And that's all there is to that word, really. Then on the same page, the word occasion. So further down that particular page, it says, he felt very well dressed for the occasion. So an occasion is a special event, a noteworthy event, something that takes place that's very worthy of your time, your something that you go to. So, say a birthday is an occasion, Christmas is an occasion, a party is an occasion, a wedding is an occasion. Here, the occasion is that Dylan is meeting with these children because he's wanting to make friends with them. So it's very important to Dylan because he's so lonely and he wants to make friends with these children. So he's considering this occasion or this event very special and very noteworthy. So just to give you the definition again, the occasion is a special or noteworthy event. Then we have the word introduce. So it says he was about to open his mouth to introduce himself. Again, I think I've actually talked you through this word before in a previous book in a previous week, but I'm happy to do it again just in case you maybe haven't seen that video, or maybe forgotten, or you need need a better explanation. So he was about to open his mouth to introduce himself. So introduce, so you make yourself or someone else, but in this case it's Dylan, so it's himself. You make yourself known by name to someone else or to other people. So if I was to meet you, maybe for the first time, I would say, "Hello, my name is Rebecca," or Becca. What's your name? And then you would tell me your name, and we would have introduced ourselves to each other. It also works if I say know two people, but they don't know each other. So A doesn't know B, and B doesn't know A, but I know both A and B. And I would say, A, this is B, and B, this is A. And I've introduced them to each other. So it works both ways. So you can introduce yourself, or you can introduce other people. In this case, Dylan is introducing himself by name to these children. Well, he was about to until someone started screaming. And that we are on that page now. So all the children ran frantically towards the exits and disappeared in no time. So the word frantically, this means it's done with fear, it's done with anxiety. They are so scared, they are so frightened, they are so worried that they are like running in all different directions. They just want to get away. They don't care how. They're just running frantically out of fear, out of terror, because they're so scared of Dylan the dragon. So that's what this means here. So you do something with fear, anxiety, fright, worry. And then on the last line there it says, all the children ran frantically towards the exits and disappeared in no time. So disappeared means that if something disappears, it's no longer visible, so you can't see it anymore. So Dylan the dragon could see the children, but because they've run in all different directions, they've just run frantically, they're so scared, they're so worried, they're so terrified, they're no longer there. They've all headed for the exits, and because they've headed for the exits, they're all gone. He's like, oh, I can't see any of them, so they've disappeared. So he could see them, and now they can't. Now he can't because they've run off. It doesn't mean that they've just disappeared into thin air. It doesn't mean that they've just kind of stopped existing. That's not what it means. It means that they were there and they've run away, so he can no longer see them. Okay, now on to the next page. Dylan sighed sadly. All he wanted was some friends to play with, but clearly humans were very scared of dragons. Next page. He flew home with his head hung low to see what Mummy Dragon had made him for tea. I don't think I could actually find any difficult words in those two pages. Yeah, I think that's all pretty straightforward. So now we'll move on to this one. The next day, Dylan decided to try and make friends with the children in the playground again. He tucked his white handkerchief in his left gill and scooped up a large branch lying on the floor. He made it into a white surrender flag. He crossed his claws and hoped the children would give him another chance. Next page. Down he flew again into the centre of the playground with his white surrender flag clenched in his jaw. I just want to play and be friends, he said softly. But how will you play with us? Shouted one of the girls. You're too big for our swings and slides. You won't fit in our roundabout. Okay, so the first word I came across on that first page there is the word tucked. So he tucked his white handkerchief in his left gill. tucked. So that means you push or fold to hide to hide or secure something. So in this case, Dylan has tucked the white handkerchief into his left gill. So if you see, he's tucked the white handkerchief in his left gill. So that means he has kind of pushed it into his left gill. So that's where it can stay. So like I said, tucked means to like push or fold to hide or secure something. So he has pushed it into his left gill to secure it, to make sure it doesn't move from there. And the word gill. So this is what fish have really. It's a part of a fish's body, and this is how they breathe. So fish don't breathe in the same way we do. You know, we go, that's us breathing, but fish don't have that. They don't breathe in the same way we do. So they have gills, and they are, so it's kind of like behind the fish's head, they have the gills, and this is how the fish breathe. This is how they get their oxygen. And in this case, dragons, although mythical, have gills as well. And so he's tucked this handkerchief into his gill. Yeah, so if you look at the picture carefully, I'll try and zoom in. So it's the area behind his head that that the gill is, and that's where it is in fish as well. Kind of like behind the head, and it's like flaps. They're almost like little flaps, and the kind of brings in oxygen, like water that contains oxygen, and this is how they get their oxygen. This is how they breathe. Okay, then I found the word scooped. So he tucked his white handkerchief in his left gill and scooped up a large branch lying on the floor. So the word scooped, this means you pick up something in a swift, fluid motion. So if you just scoop something up, you've picked it up in a quick, because the word swift's come up again. Remember, swift means quickly. So you pick something up in a swift, quick, fluid motion. So fluid in this context means like continuous. So it's a swift, fluid, continuous motion. So he is picking up the large branch line on the floor in one quick, swift, fluid, continuous motion. And then we have the word surrender. Yes, so he made it into a white surrender flag. This is kind of difficult to understand, but the word surrender kind of means that you stop resisting to an enemy or another team or another group, and you kind of stop being on opposite sides, and you stop the arguing or you stop the fighting. So I'm just trying to think. If you're having an argument with your a friend, let's say it's a bad argument, and you're just arguing and you're arguing and you're arguing, and you're just like, you know what, I really just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to have this argument anymore. Then you just go, right, I surrender. Like, I've had enough. Let's just stop the arguing. Let's just be friends again. That's kind of what this is. Even though Dylan the dragon hasn't really done anything wrong, he's still surrendering just so he can have this opportunity to play with these children. So surrender is when you stop resisting to another group, another enemy, or something like that. So you're not on opposite sides anymore. You stop the fighting. Oh, Sorry, excuse me. And then on the next page we have the word clenched. So down he flew again into the centre of the playground with a white surrender flag clenched in his jaw. Clenched, because it's the jaw in this sense, the mouth, clenched means that the teeth are pressed tightly together, kind of keep the flag there. So if you want to hold something in your mouth, chances are you're going to have it in between your teeth, and then you bite down on the thing and have it between your teeth pressed together, so it can't move. So that's what he's doing there. He's pressing his teeth tightly together so the surrender flag doesn't move. And then the word jaw. So I said it's clenched in his jaw. So this is the mouth bone. So if you feel here, if you feel something hard, that's the jawbone. That's the bone in the mouth. So that's what allows us to open and close our mouth. So it's the mouth bone. And then we have, okay, yes, let's move on to the next page. Well, why don't I take you all for a ride to the valleys and the mountains of Rockstone? Yay! Squealed all the children at once. They climbed onto Dylan's back and off the children went on a very exciting flight. Next page and final page. From that day, Dylan and the playground children were friends, and every day Dylan the dragon would take the children on the best playground ride ever. Okay, so that's just one more word that I picked up. The word squealed. So, yay! Squealed all the children at once on this page here. Squealed is like a high-pitched, excited tone. So if I was to squeal yay, I would kind of go, yay! It's really bad, I know, but that's kind of what it means. A high-pitched, excited tone. And we finished the book. Another book done. Can't believe it. So that is Dylan the Dragon and the Playground Ride finished. However, as usual, I will ask you a few questions just to check that you understood the actual storyline as well. Don't worry, there's no marking, there's nothing like that. It's just, and I won't know how well you've done. It's just for your benefit so you can check your understanding of the content. So, we're going right back to the beginning. What did Mummy Dragon make Dylan to eat? What did Mummy Dragon make Dylan to eat? You'll have to go back quite a bit, I think. What did Mummy Dragon make Dylan to eat? Couple more seconds to try and find that one. If you do need more time to find it, just pause the video. Then you can play it again to find out the answer. So here is the page you're looking for. What did Mummy Dragon make Dylan to eat? Pea and toad soup. So the sentence is, I've made your favourite today, darling, pea and toad soup. So that's the answer to the first question. Well done to whoever got that right. Why was Dylan sad? That's the next question. Why was Dylan sad? You won't have to scroll too far after the pea and toad soup to find the answer to this. Why was Dylan sad? Okay, here is the page. So why was Dylan sad? He was lonely. He couldn't find anyone to play with, is the answer. So the actual quote from the story is, "I'm lonely, Mum. I can't find anyone to play with. In all the lakes, mountains, and valleys and Rockstone, there isn't a single dragon for me to play with," he grumbled. So Dylan is sad because he was lonely, he didn't have anyone to play with, and there was no dragons for him to play with. Thirdly, how did the children first react to Dylan? How did the children first react to Dylan? I'll give you a couple of more seconds to find that. It's you need to scroll a bit further along the book to find this answer. How did the children first react to Dylan? Okay, so the answer is they were frantic, they were terrified, they were scared, they screamed. So the page is this one here. "Ah! Run! It's a dragon! He's going to burn us alive!" yelled one of the young boys. All the children ran frantically towards the exit and disappeared in no time. So the children are terrified, they are frantic, they are yelling, they are shouting because they're so scared of Dylan the dragon. Well done to whoever got that. And final question is, how did Dylan end up playing with the children? How did Dylan end up playing with the children? So this is close to the end of the book, this. How did Dylan end up playing with the children? How did Dylan end up playing with the children? Okay, so again, if you haven't found it yet, you can just pause the video to give yourself a bit more time. So what Dylan did to end up playing with the children was taking them on a ride to the valleys and mountains of Rockstone. So this is where it says that, this page here. And the final page says that he was the best playground ride ever. So Dylan the dragon ended up playing with the children by taking them on a ride to the valleys and mountains of Rockstone, and he became the best playground ride ever. So that answer kind of stretches over 2 pages. If you got either of those answers, well done. That's amazing. So thank you all so much for watching, for listening. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all doing really well. And I'll see you all soon. Thank you so much.